The flash floods in Texas have taken at least 82 lives, including several kids, but sadly, it seems like the left is cheering on behalf of the floods, as the day after, the amount of destruction is massive, making the rescue efforts incredibly difficult, as the flash floods continue to take their bridges in minutes. But even before the storm is stopped, CNN is already trying to blame climate change.
How much do you think the changing climate is part of what we are seeing go on here?
I think climate change is obviously a part of it. These floods are happening more often in more parts of the country and really all over the world. And so we have to face that reality.
And even trying to twist this about Trump.
The Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those or other cuts helped play a role in the fact that the people in the flood zone were not prepared and certainly not evacuated?
I can't say that conclusively, but when you have flash flooding, there is a risk that you won't have the personnel to do that analysis, do the predictions in the best way, and it could lead to tragedy. So I don't want to sit here and say conclusively that that was the case, but I do think that it should be investigated.
As this narrative is even being echoed by popular Twitter accounts, where they're practically laughing at the victims getting millions of views, making this about the budgetary cuts that President Trump made. The issue being, as the Cajun Navy points out, those cuts don't take effect until October. Even if they did have a valid point, it's simply disgusting that they can't even cover a natural disaster without trying to interject their propaganda, how they were right, and all this loss of life can be completely attributed to President Donald Trump and his supporters. And it's alarming how they can go to Elon Musk's AI, Grok, to prove their point, as Grok initially agrees with their narrative, that Trump cuts weakened forecasting and kids lost their life. And with a little pushback, it doubles down, citing the government, Wikipedia, and CNN. But after enough questioning as to why Trump is to blame, they eventually admit this isn't his fault, eventually stating its previous responses were incorrect, those cuts weren't in effect. It's kinda scary how our mainstream media and social media algorithms have essentially been manipulated against the truth. But within months, AI chatbots are doing the same exact thing, which really makes you wonder how much the Elon Musk-Donald Trump feud is fueling this issue, as random social media accounts and AI bots are expected to say dumb things, but now we have US senators from halfway across the country quoting Grok to claim not having accurate weather forecasting is a consequence to Trump's brainless attacks, completely oblivious that there were several flood warnings the day before. Residents in the area reported getting several mobile warnings, and even the Associated Press admits the National Weather Service had more staff than normal. It's sad to see these posts get tens of millions of views, all parroting the same incorrect talking points coming from sources that we should be able to trust, which gets the public all riled up trying to fix an issue that doesn't even exist because they made this all about politics and how only the Democrats can save us from natural disasters. When you have real people out there actually trying to find survivors, as not only is Donut Operator physically searching, he's using his reach to share the relief drives, and reposting the local volunteer firefighters donation page after they lost all their equipment in the flood, which is especially important that he posts the QR code, as sadly there are several scumbags out there trying to make their Venmo address slight typos to try to get money. But the good news is, they got so many donations after Donut reposted them, their account actually got flagged. And while Donut is helping the community, liberal live streamers are posting advertisements for a VPN with their promo code, trying to make a joke about how God did this, because Texas has a ban on adult content. I understand he's speaking to a very specific Reddit-like audience, but this brief glimpse into how they see this catastrophic loss of life is all you need to know about the modern-day left. As he even went after Donut Operator specifically, as Donut previously criticized California Democrats for their response to the wildfires, but not Texas Republicans over the floods. And it's interesting how this narrative is being artificially promoted, as I'm even seeing people say the same about me, where I very openly criticized both Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass over their horrible response to the wildfires, as it continued to get worse as they seemingly danced over land grabs, then basically lied about how quickly they would rebuild the city, while I tried to just objectively and respectfully cover the floods in Texas. The difference being, in Texas, President Trump immediately declared a major disaster, unlocking federal funds and deploying the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA, with the DHS Secretary Noem immediately arriving to assist in the rescue and recovery efforts, which is in stark contrast to disasters like East Palestine that took the Biden administration weeks to respond, or even the Maui wildfires, when President Biden finally arrived and seemingly fell asleep. Up until recently, in Los Angeles, where the mayor desperately wanted Trump's federal funds.
We are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You should let them do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years. You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, I mean, you have a very powerful
declaration.
emergency power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
And as of recently, it doesn't really seem like she delivered on those promises. But these are all facts based on reality, not fear-mongering from people that know next to nothing about what's actually happening, and only want to use natural disasters as a way to reinforce their pre-existing worldviews, which sadly makes me believe the left is actually cheering on behalf of the floods, wishing for the maximum loss of life, just to prove a political point. As even today, they believe there will be more evacuations in Texas. And even in North Carolina, they're beginning to see flooding from Tropical Storm Chantal. It's sad to think that no matter the circumstances that cause the next natural disaster, they're going to somehow shift the narrative towards Donald Trump. As I know, my coverage on the fires in Los Angeles were mainly based on solutions. Stop cutting civilian fire staff, refill the water reservoirs, and maybe don't party in Africa while your city is under a fire hazard. Meanwhile, all these posts from the left seem to echo the same invalid complaints about the Trump administration being to blame, and when they're proven wrong, they don't rescind their statements and say, "Hey, it looks like they're doing a good job, how can we help as well?" No, they just immediately shift into the next talking point they've been told to parrot. But even without all the political points, people can clearly see the difference between donut operator and destiny, and it's easy for the average American to choose which side they'd rather align with. So if you appreciate my concise, sometimes lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.